This is History for Cocktail Parties with hack historians Thornton Kennedy and James Otley.
Welcome to History for Cocktail Parties. My name is Thornton Kennedy.
And I'm James Otley.
And we're continuing our journey on the road to the American Revolution.
Indeed.
If your idea of the Revolution begins with Paul Revere's ride and ends with George Washington crossing the Delaware, well, this episode's for you. We're going to tell the part of the story that you probably didn't learn in school. While New England tends to dominate the history books, the South played a critical role in America's path to independence. From North Carolina becoming the first colony to authorize a vote for independence to the political maneuvering that made the Declaration possible, we're going to pull back the curtain on some of the most interesting stories about the founding of our country on the occasion of its 250th anniversary.
That's exactly right.
In our signature cocktail today, James?
The mint julep.
The mint julep. I know you guys might think the mint julep is a Kentucky Derby type of drink, but the reality is this thing was around during the time of the American Revolution, mostly in the South. And just to give you guys a sense of what it is, you take some simple syrup. You have to put it into a sterling silver goblet. I think that's part of the protocol.
Of course.
A few mint leaves from James's garden. You muddle them.
Yes, indeed.
Don't crush them.
Yeah.
You muddle them.
You're not angry.
You're not angry. Just muddle. Put a little bit of crushed ice on top of that. And a lot of bourbon.
Right.
And let me tell you, this is going to be a one cocktail episode. We're going to try to behave ourselves.
Indeed.
So as James and I enjoy these delicious beverages, gives us an opportunity to talk about one of our partners, Play. History is full of lessons learned. And one of the big ones is that those who don't take action get run over by those who do. Play is a full-service ad agency that helps brands find their spark or reignite it. Their team of creative, quote, players, end quote, turns bold ideas into action with smart strategy, design, and digital know-how, helping new businesses launch strong and established ones move forward with fresh energy. Ready to grow your business? Get a free marketing consultation today at goplaydesign.com. That's goplaydesign.com.
We truly appreciate your support.
Really do. All right, James.
All right. So here's a question for you. Lexington and Concord and the shot heard around the world, that all happened in April 1775. Okay? Why did we wait almost a year and a half after that to declare independence? Did you ever think about that?
I never.
Yeah, I never did either.
Be an idiot.
Yeah.
1775?
Well, yeah. I mean, you'd think, we talked about this in the last episode a little bit. When they teach this stuff, when they learn us in school, we think maybe the Boston Massacre was, a couple days before.
It all happened in the same time
Exactly.
frame.
And everybody's off to the races and everybody's a patriot. And then they signed the Declaration of Independence and then the war started and,
Yeah, everybody's on the same page.
Yeah, not at all.
April 1775.
Yeah.
A year and some change.
Absolutely.
Before the Declaration of Independence.
Exactly. So
why was it?
I'll tell you. The simple fact is that the Continental Congress did not have the authority to vote for it. Sounds kind of funny, but they didn't. The delegates to this Second Continental Congress were elected by 13 different colonial governments, and they were bound by the instructions that each of these governments gave to them. So they didn't have authority to do it.
And that sounds like a pretty dry procedural point, but it's actually a huge problem.
Absolutely.
The delegates in Philadelphia couldn't simply wake up one morning and declare independence. They weren't free agents. They represented their colonies, as you said. They could only do what their colonial governments authorized them to do.
Right.
So even if everyone in the room wanted independence, many of them literally didn't have permission to vote for them.
Right.
Which brings us to North Carolina.
Indeed.
Here at History for Cocktail Parties, we like to focus on Southern history, and North Carolina plays an interesting technical role in the founding of our country. If you listen to our Wright Brothers series, you'll remember that North Carolina loves to brag it's the first in flight. It's on the state's license plate. If you haven't heard those episodes, go back, give them a listen. It's fascinating. But North Carolina also lays claim to another title, and I think it's more dramatic.
First in golf?
I thought that was South Carolina.
Oh, you're right.
No, it's not first in golf. It's first in freedom.
Yes,
and
indeed.
If I had to champion anything, I'd say put first in freedom on your license.
Freedom state.
And unlike a certain aviation dispute with Ohio, this one has a pretty solid case. Because on April 12th, 1776, 83 delegates meeting in Halifax, North Carolina, unanimously adopted what became known as the Halifax Resolves. Now, at first glance, document doesn't sound particularly exciting.
At all.
It wasn't a Declaration of Independence. Didn't tell King George where he could stick his tea. Instead, it authorized North Carolina's delegates to the Continental Congress to vote for independence if the opportunity arose.
Okay.
That means it's a technicality, but it's one of the most important technicalities in American history. Yep. North Carolina became the first colony to officially authorize its delegates to vote for independence. Its delegates were Joseph Hughes, William Hooper, and John Penn. They suddenly had something none of their other colleagues had, which was permission.
Mm-hmm.
The Halifax resolves were quickly sent to Philadelphia. They gave momentum to the independence movement. Virginia soon follows. Before long, Richard Henry Lee introduced the resolution declaring that, quote, these united colonies are of right ought to be free and independent states. So while the Declaration gets all the headlines, the Halifax resolves help make it legally and politically possible. And James, that's why April 12th, 1776 is on the North Carolina state flag.
That's really
Those
cool.
two little yellow
It's
bands.
not like they didn't get it wrong. It wasn't a typo.
Well, there is one they did get wrong. There's another date on the flag, which is May 20th, 1775. And if you'll let me go down a little James-esque rabbit hole.
Let's do it.
That's supposed to commemorate the famous Mecklenburg Declaration of Independence. But there's one small problem. It almost certainly never happened. According to the story, the citizens of Mecklenburg County, think Charlotte, declared independence more than a year before Thomas Jefferson. Unfortunately, the original document was supposedly destroyed in a fire.
Okay.
Then, almost 2 decades later, someone suddenly remembered exactly what it said. Convenient.
No doubt.
Even Thomas Jefferson wasn't buying it. Most historians today believe the Mecklenburg Declaration of Independence was either a hoax or a confused memory of the very real Mecklenburg Resolves.
Okay.
Adopted May 31st, 1775. They were genuine. They rejected Parliament's authority and placed power in the hands of North Carolina's provincial Congress. It was radical.
Yep.
Absolutely. Declaration of Independence? Not quite. And yet that date is still on the North Carolina flag to this date.
That's funny. Well, that's a great nugget. And if it had happened, it's not that far-fetched. Some colonies actually did declare that they were independent.
That's fascinating.
Rhode Island did this on May 4th, 1776. And you touched on this, kind of going back to the general point that the Continental Congress really couldn't vote for independence because its delegates didn't have authority to do so.
You had to pass a resolution to give them authority to
exactly, or give them specific instructions. And so this motion for independence was not even introduced in the Continental Congress until June 7th, 1776.
Wow.
Again, more than a year after Lexington and Concord.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's blowing my mind.
It is pretty wild when you think about it, but it makes sense. It was pointless until you had the votes.
So it was all just bureaucracy.
Yeah.
They were just up there arguing.
Well, again, they had to have the authority from their individual governments, and the middle colonies, New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, and Maryland, they were not authorized to vote for independence. And this makes sense. They still had royal governments. Pennsylvania's Royal Assembly, November 1775, the instructions literally read, do not vote for independence.
They were specifically even if it comes up, you cannot vote for that.
Yeah, do not vote for independence or any proposal leading to separation for Britain. And like I said, this makes sense. I mean, these were still royal governments in early 1776. I mean, there's no way a Royal Assembly is going to give instructions to his delegates that they can vote for independence. It's okay for them to go to this Continental Conference or Congress, but no, we're not giving you the right to vote for independence.
And I'm going to make a quick point here, which is that the Mecklenburg was another safety council.
Was it really?
So it was in not opposition to, but it was the night shift of the government.
Right. Kind of like we talked about in our prior episode.
That's correct.
For Georgia.
So it was the safety council that voted for, to break with Parliament, however they termed it.
Yeah. Interesting. So Pennsylvania, I mentioned this group of middle states or middle colonies. Pennsylvania controlled the reconciliationist. Did I say that right? That was a little bit tough.
No, I think you got it.
Especially after midway through a mint julep. Reconciliationist middle colony bloc. So the pro-independence coalition in Congress, this was led by John Adams, second cousin to Sam Adams. They figured if they could swing Pennsylvania, they were pretty sure that New York, New Jersey, Delaware, and Maryland would follow.
Right.
So what's the next logical step? If you're John Adams, you introduce a resolution into Congress as part of a secret attempt to overthrow the government of Pennsylvania, of course. So John Adams and his cousin Sam, the beer brewer, patriot, we all know, they had their local allies in Pennsylvania. They'd already been preparing these local working class committees and militias in Pennsylvania to take over the province. And so on May 10th, 1776, Adams introduces the May 10th Resolution in the Continental Congress. And it proposes that Congress recommend to those colonies which, amid the imperial crisis, lacked working governments, and that they end their old governments and create new ones that would be more conducive to their happiness. It's peace and love, right? And so his target is Pennsylvania. That's where, as I said, he's got these local allies. They're well organized. They're ready to put in a pro-independence government. And this proposed resolution is really bizarre. I mean, the Continental Congress is not in a position to tell member states what to do with their governments. And it's really bold when you think about that the Continental Congress was being hosted by Pennsylvania, and the Continental Congress met in the same exact room in the Pennsylvania State House where the Pennsylvania Royal Assembly met, some guest, So John Dickinson, who's a delegate from Pennsylvania, he knew exactly what they were up to. He knew the Adams were secretly organizing locally against him and whatnot. Pennsylvania had a working representative government in place. It was committed to American rights and values, just not to independence.
Right.
And so he had every reason to call out Adams and, tell everybody that this was overbearing and illegal and driven by a hidden agenda.
This guy's a scallywag.
Exactly. But Dickinson was smart. Rather than arguing about it, he embraced it. He said, that's a great idea. Shifted the frame. He said, since Pennsylvania did have a working government, the resolution obviously couldn't apply to it. Pretty brilliant,
That
right?
is brilliant.
So Congress passes this weird resolution on the understanding that Pennsylvania is exempt, Resolution's real purpose completely negated. Score one for Dickinson.
Brilliant. I mean, brilliant.
Exactly.
Gotta appreciate that.
Great tactical move. What wasn't a great tactical move was leaving town the next day. I guess Dickinson had to go attend to his farm or something. Anyway, he leaves for the weekend.
Dickinson, do not turn your back on John Adams.
Exactly. So the following Monday, this is May 13th, Dickinson is still out of town. He's gone. John Adams comes in with a preamble to the resolution. But it wasn't really a preamble. It reframed the entire meaning of this weird resolution. And it was a lot longer than the resolution. The gist of it, I don't want to read the whole thing, but kind of the main part says, whereas it appears absolutely irreconcilable to reason and good conscience for the people of these colonies to now take the oaths and affirmations necessary for the support of any government under the crown of Great Britain. And it is necessary that the exercise of every kind of authority under said crown should be totally suppressed. Wow. I could go on, but that's the gist of it. Pretty bold language there.
Right. But to your point, it completely changes the meaning.
Yeah. 100%.
And it like knocks Dickinson's legs out from underneath.
Completely. And so,
and he's not there to say
anything. And he's not there to, to argue against it anyway. And so reconciliationists in Congress, especially James Wilson, another delegate from Pennsylvania, they're desperately trying to argue against this, saying it's blatantly illegal, which it is, and overreaching by Congress, which it is, and that it's going to cause uprising in the streets, which it does. I mean, they're literally...
You aren't wrong.
Yeah. Local radical leaders are literally waiting outside the doors, to tell the militias and the people in the street that Congress has just adopted this preamble and supports them removing the royal government of Pennsylvania. Literally. So despite these attempts to block the May 15th preamble, these guys just, they couldn't stop it. And so it's kind of weird. I mean, most of Congress had no idea really what they were voting for and what they were about to unleash on Pennsylvania. And so, quote, thanks to John Adams, one of the oldest elected representative governments in the English-speaking world was set up to be overturned extra-legally by an unelected populist militia. Close quote.
I love the quotes, the extra-legally.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, Philadelphia radicals.
And real quick.
Yeah.
I thought long and hard about making a Sam Adams Boston Lager our cocktail.
Yeah.
Because of the John Adams connection, but we're going a little southern here, but all due respect to
indeed
Sam Adams Boston Lager.
How about next time?
All
right. So just like as predicted, Philadelphia radicals immediately mobilize, and on May 20th, they hold this huge rally, people out in the streets, and they basically send a message to the Royal Pennsylvania Assembly to say, look, either change course, let our folks have the opportunity to at least vote for independence if they feel it's right, or we'll create a new revolutionary government without you, And the Assembly, they realize they're losing control.
Complete madness.
Yeah, exactly. And that resistance is becoming impossible. I imagine, if you're looking out the window, there's an angry mob with pitchforks out there that, you start to think, well, fellas, maybe independence is not such a bad idea, after all.
And look, James, when there is that mob outside, they've got pitchforks and torches, you assume something's going to get set on fire.
Indeed.
And hopefully in that instance, they have insurance. But if they didn't, they should have called our friends at Sterling Seacrest Pritchard, one of Southeast's largest privately held insurance brokers, and quite possibly the only agency brave enough to tackle everything from construction mishaps to healthcare misadventures, logistics disasters, real estate whoopsies, and even ransom notes from hackers who apparently have never heard of two-factor authentication. When it comes to your home, your business, and all the weirdness life can throw your way, SSP has you covered, usually before you even realize you need it. For a friendly guide through, wait, that can actually happen? To, do I need a lawyer? Call 678-424-6503 or visit sspins.com. That's sspins.com.
Fantastic.
Now, James, back.
Truly appreciate your support.
Now, James, back to the angry mobs.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Things are going to get set on fire.
Well, yeah, exactly. So they realized that. And so on June 8th, the Assembly, they changed course and they removed the anti-independence restriction in their instructions to their delegates to the Continental Congress. So on June 14th, these new instructions are formally delivered. Pennsylvania delegates can now vote for independence if they want to. Tell you, revolution's a little messy.
It really is.
Know?
Again, in history, they don't go into any of this. Of course, it would take a lot of time.
Yeah.
These social studies teachers in 8th grade need to get through this quickly.
Right. Indeed. So I mentioned previously that the Resolution for Independence was introduced on June 7th, 1776. Not going to go into everything and the delays and the whatnot that happened since June 7, 1776. But there were delays, there were debates. People needed to get instructions, authorizing them to vote for independence. So anyway, we get to July 1, 1776, and Congress meets as a committee of the whole to debate and vote on whether we should declare independence. And basically, just to explain that, committee of the whole is more kind of informal, where they can debate more freely and more informally. And they do end up taking a vote that day, but it's kind of like a preliminary vote. It's not official. They just want to see what the vote count would be, basically, when they do vote.
Counting votes behind closed doors before we go to the floor.
100%. Everybody's there, but they just want to see what the vote count is. And the vote count at the end of July 1st, all colonies vote yes, except Maryland. They vote no. New York abstains because they still don't have the right to vote for independence. And Delaware is split. One delegate says yes, one delegate says no. And so the motion passes in the committee of the whole, but the formal vote is postponed until the next day on July 2nd. So going back to the Delaware tie vote, Delaware does have a third delegate, a guy named Caesar Rodney, but he's not there to vote. He's not lazy or, drunk or whatever. He's a brigadier general in the Delaware militia. He's busy. Nobody thought he would be needed. But Rodney gets this proverbial, get your ass up here call. Rodney,
we need you.
Yeah, exactly.
Little back to school reference.
Indeed. So, and the reason it's so important to break this Delaware vote, it really is important because they want it to be as unanimous as possible. They want Delaware to switch to a yes. And this is to, encourage Americans to support the decision. Remember, they're basically committing the whole country to treason.
Yeah. Right. You're going to be put to death for this vote.
Yeah. basically.
So you damn well better have everybody
on board.
Right.
Yeah, or as many as possible. And you want to show Britain that there's no realistic chance of dividing the colonies, and also, convince political allies like France that the colonies are serious and united. It's kind of like your high school class. They want 100% participation
Always.
So they can get that matching gift, you know? And so anyway, Rodney, he makes a midnight ride, another famous midnight ride. July 1, early morning of July 2nd. He rides from Dover, Delaware to Independence Hall in Philadelphia. It's a long way. It's 70 miles on horseback.
70 miles on a horse.
Yeah, 70 miles on horseback. And I don't know if you ever remember the comedian saying, I don't know why they have to specify it's horseback. Where else would you ride? I've been doing it wrong. I've been horse ass riding this whole time. Wonder why I was having trouble. Anyway.
And Rodney's not in great health.
He's not.
He's incredible.
He's got asthma. He's got cancer, like facial illness.
Right.
It's described as cancer of the jaw. I mean, just terrible condition. And it's hard enough to ride a horse anyway to the middle of the night, but also be sick too. So anyway.
What an incredible patriot.
Yeah, for sure.
His name should be better known.
Absolutely. So his arrival changes Delaware's vote from a split or a tie to a yes. And that's incredibly important and just in time. I mean, they're probably holding things up for it, And by the way, a little interesting aside, he's the 8th cousin 9 times removed from Ted Danson.
What?
Yeah.
Good
Cheers.
Lord.
Yeah. Boston. I don't know. Anyway. So July 2nd, big day of the final vote, yes or no on independence.
Seriously, this is such a huge day.
Yes, indeed. Rodney gets there. Here's the vote. Vote count right here. 12 colonies vote yes. 0 colonies vote no. New York colony abstained again because they still don't have authority.
That bureaucracy, that technicality.
That's right. Didn't have authority. And so they're able to say that it was passed unanimously among the voting colonies. Okay?
Right. And that's the vote.
Yeah, that's the vote.
Our country is essentially founded on July 2nd.
Indeed. John Adams says July 2nd is the most memorial epoch in the history of America.
I agree with Mr. Adams.
I do too.
It should have been July 2nd.
Yeah, he thinks that July 2nd will be the day that everybody celebrates. The text of the Declaration is debated for 2 days and then is approved on July 4th. Of course, and that's the day we celebrate. It's funny. Jefferson says that they mangled it. He drafted it, and he said that what the changes they made on those 2 days mangled it. And so they send the document out for publication. Want to talk a little bit about the Declaration itself. It's kind of interesting. The term Declaration of Independence is not used in the body of the Declaration at all. It's in the title, but it's not in the body of the document. The original
it does not say we declare independence.
Exactly. And also the original title was not Declaration of Independence. It was a declaration by representatives of the United States of America and General Congress assembled. I think they made the right choice. I like that.
As a PR guy,
yeah,
you got to tighten that thing up.
And they did. I think they made the
absolute right call.
Yeah. And so the reason that Declaration of Independence, that term is not used in the body of the document, is because Jefferson's trying to say, hey, we're giving a formal explanation of why Congress already voted that way, why they already declared independence, not declared himself. And nowhere in the document does it say, we hereby declare independence. That's already already done.
Yeah.
Copies of the Declaration were immediately published and widely distributed. Interestingly, the original source document, the original one sent for publication, has been lost.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
And so the one we think is the official document, the one that's displayed in the National Archives in Washington, D.C.
that Nick Cage stole for National Treasure.
Okay. Is a duplicate copy signed after the fact. It was ordered by Congress on July 19th, but was not signed until August 2nd.
Wow.
A month after Congress voted for independence.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, Jefferson's original draft, which remarkably shows changes he made and also that Adams and maybe Franklin made as well, has survived and is in the Library of Congress. And I've got a picture or two of that.
Fantastic.
We've got that on our Instagram
feed.
Jefferson originally wrote, we hold these truths to be sacred and undeniable.
Right.
Not self-evident. And he changed it to be self-evident. And the sacred and undeniable, there's reason for it, they say, is because that was more like religious or divinely, revealed. Self-evident is more kind of a philosophical phrase associated with enlightenment, like John Locke. And it means that any rational person can recognize that this is a true statement, through reason alone. I always had life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Some people say it originally was life, liberty, and the pursuit of property. That was what John Locke had written.
Right.
But my understanding is that Jefferson had life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness in the original draft. One more kind of interesting thing, Jefferson had an attack on slavery.
I love this.
He had a long paragraph blaming King George.
And of all people, Jefferson.
Yeah, for the slave trade and for preventing colonial attempts to restrict slavery. It began, he has waged cruel war against human nature itself, accused the king of forcing slavery on the colonies, blocking colonial abolition efforts, and protecting the slave trade. Continental Congress removes the entire passage because delegates from South Carolina and Georgia and some even northern merchants involved in the slave trade were going to be against it and would not accept it. But kind of interesting that was apparently in the first version.
And I've got props that y'all can't see, but I gave all of my nieces and nephews for Christmas this year, which I'm sure they immediately threw on the ground. The Greatest Sentence Ever Written by Walter Isaacson, which goes through exactly what you talked about, is how carefully that language was parsed and how it's specific. It's just a fascinating book. So I recommend everybody pick up The Greatest Sentence Ever Written.
How old are your nieces and nephews?
They are all in that high school age where they would have appreciated, maybe $50 from Uncle Thornton.
Yeah. Instead
got a book.
That's almost like a gift to the human fund, right?
It's just rough.
Yeah.
So we've gone from North Carolina giving Congress permission to declare independence to John Adams quietly helping engineer what was essentially an 18th century political coup in Pennsylvania.
Right.
In other words, American independence wasn't born in a single dramatic moment, as we were taught. It was messy, complicated, occasionally underhanded. Next time, we'll talk about the war's center of gravity shifting south.
I can't wait.
I don't think many people realize that the entire theater shifted to the south when they reached a stalemate in the Northeast. We'll talk about the Cowpens battlefield. We'll talk about Kings Mountain and, of course, Guilford Courthouse, which is one of those battles that is not as well known in American history, but is
transformational,
so important.
And maybe even Kettle Creek, which occurred right here in Georgia.
Let's do it.
All right.
All right. Join us next time for History for Cocktail Parties. And if you enjoyed today's episode,
please like and subscribe. Hitting that subscribe button really helps us out and helps you out too. That way you know when our episodes are coming out.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate your listening. This is History for Cocktail Parties with hack historians Thornton Kennedy and James Otley.